Hi, I'm Sam, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to answer the question which I get quite a lot, and that is, who deploys the most within the British Army? Now, I'm going to start off with, obviously, it's going to be the Special Forces that deploy the most within the British Army, SAS, SBS, etc. So, if you want to deploy like mad and be away all of the time, then you're going to have to go away and do those courses once you are actually in the army. But if you're not looking to do that and you just want to join the army as a regular green soldier, as they're called, there are certain things that you can do to deploy more and also ensure that you're away the majority of your time within the military. Now, the first thing you need to do is ensure that you stay MFD, medically fully deployable, whereby you're not carrying any injuries and you're not downgraded at all, and you haven't been downgraded by the doctors and the med centres. You can also deploy as MLD, medically limited deployable. They are a little bit fewer and far between, but if you are kind of downgraded just for one or two things, that doesn't mean that the army will not deploy you. But your best chance of deploying is stay in MFD. Now, there are other things which could stop you deploying as well, and that is if you're posted to a non-deployable unit. So if you're in a non-deployable unit, generally that will mean that that unit is not on any type of exercise or campaign cycle, and you will not deploy because you're generally providing support to those soldiers that are on operations. It is quite rare that you will get posted to one of those units straight away as soon as you join the army. You generally get that later on in the army when you're at training units especially. But that doesn't mean that you cannot deploy from those units, because as I've said in other videos from a while back, all you can do is volunteer. So jobs lists will come out and the army will put out generally requests for soldiers to go and deploy that have certain skills. And if you've got those skills and you are at a non-deployable unit, that doesn't stop you from volunteering. So you can volunteer to deploy even if you're at a non-deployable unit, but the chances are greatly limited. Now, within the army, so when I joined up, I went straight into an Iraq cycle, then from an Iraq cycle, I went straight into an Afghan cycle. So I was away quite a lot. But I know at this moment in time, a lot of people want to join the army to go into some sort of campaign cycle and deploy and get some medals. But we're not really in that at this moment in time. We don't really have many major conflicts that people get into a cycle and you're deploying every 12 to 18 months. However, the army is trying to become more global, and it's completely restructuring the way that it's working, and it wants to deploy not so much on campaigns if we don't have campaigns, but what it wants to do is spread the influence globally all over the world. So therefore, if you're joining the things like the light infantry, mechanized infantry, armored infantry, artillery, engineers, signals, all of those things, you will end up going away. Don't think that you're joining the army now and because there are no conflicts that you're not going to go away. People are away all of the time, and the army is restructuring and is going into brigade combat teams, and almost all cap badges are in those brigade combat teams. So when you look at the RLC, everybody needs logistics. So if you're in the RLC and your unit's in one of those brigade combat teams, you're gonna go away as part of that support. It's the same with all of the types of infantry, all of the engineers, all of the artillery. You are going to be aligned to those brigade combat teams, and they are exercising all over the world at this moment in time. So it's not so much a case of who deploys the most, because if you join the army, you are going to deploy, but it just might not be on operations where you're then going to start being in the front line of conflict. That's kind of changed at this moment in time, but there's nothing to say that that isn't going to flare up again, and there's not going to be another operation in the Middle East where the whole of the army are then going on a campaign cycle and you will be seeing frontline action. It's just at this particular moment in time, it is quite low. However, the army are deploying more and more, and I've seen that from units that I've been at where my mates are away all of the time, and sometimes they can't even get enough soldiers to actually fill the role. So you might be a corporal and they need a sergeant, and they will just give you your local sergeant rank so you can go and fill that role. And the army is shrinking in size but still trying to project that influence around the globe. So essentially you probably will be away a lot more than perhaps I was just doing campaigns. I didn't really get around and visit the rest of the world on exercises, which the army really are doing at this moment in time. So if you're asking yourself, what should you join in order to deploy as often as possible? I would say you could pretty much join whatever you wanted to, and you will deploy. It's a tough one with regards to giving you an exact cap badge that does deploy a lot, because my main experience is obviously in the Royal Signals and the units I've been to. But I know within electronic warfare, the guys are away all of the time. I know within EOD, you get the chance to go away all of the time if you're on that rotation. I know a lot of artillery guys and engineers who are away all of the time. Infantry guys are exercising around the world all of the time. So you can pretty much ensure to yourself that if you join the army and you're not going kind of like into the music corps or something like that, where they do get around, don't get me wrong, they do get around. But if you're going to be joining the light infantry, the signals, engineers, artillery, REME, logistics, AGC, they always need clerks and people like that to go around with these sort of brigade combat teams. If you're going to join one of those cap badges, you stand a really good chance of deploying. So I wouldn't really worry about what unit deploys the most. I would worry more about what unit you think you are most suited to, and that would be a big one when you go to the recruiting center as well. Just don't think about the deployment, think about what you're best suited to, what you want to join, because whatever you join, you will be going away at some point. That's pretty much it really, but if you do have any questions, please just drop them in the comment section below, and I'll always try to get back to them all. Take care. Bye.